Welcome back to Coin Reveal USA, the channel where we uncover the history, details, and real market value of interesting United States coins. In today's video, we are taking a close look at a USA 5-cent coin that many people may still have sitting in an old collection, coin jar, drawer, or pocket change. It is the 1983 Jefferson Nickel with the P mint mark. At first glance, this coin may look like an ordinary 5-cent piece. But could a good condition 1983p Jefferson Nickel be worth more than 5 cents today? Could there be something special about your coin that makes it more desirable to collectors? Stay with me until the end, because we are going to examine the history, design, condition, mint mark, important features, and current market value of the 1983p Jefferson Nickel. The coin we are discussing today is the 1983p Jefferson Nickel. Produced at the Philadelphia Mint. The P mint mark identifies Philadelphia, and the 1983 issue had a large production of approximately 561,615,000 coins. The coin was designed by Felix Schlag, whose Jefferson design has appeared on the United States 5-cent coin since 1938. The 1983p nickel measures about 21.2 millimeters across and weighs approximately 5 grams. It is made from a copper-nickel composition containing 75% copper and 25% nickel. So this is not one of the older silver-containing Jefferson Nickels from the World War II era. Let's start with the obverse or front of the coin. You will see the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. Around the portrait are the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date 1983. Most importantly for today's video, the letter P appears near the date, identifying this coin as a Philadelphia minted Jefferson Nickel. When examining your own coin, pay close attention to the date and the P mint mark, because these details help identify exactly which version of the coin you have. Now turn the coin over to the reverse. The reverse features Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia home, in the center. Above the building are the words E pluribus unum, while United States of America appears around the lower portion of the design. Below Monticello is the denomination 5 cents. The building and its steps are particularly important when judging the condition of a Jefferson nickel. Collectors sometimes look closely at the steps of Monticello to determine whether they are sharply struck and fully visible. Coins with exceptionally strong and complete steps can receive the full steps designation, and these coins can be considerably more valuable than ordinary examples. So now comes the question that every coin collector wants answered. What is a 1983p Jefferson Nickel worth today? The answer depends heavily on condition. If your 1983p nickel is circulated and simply in good condition, it generally does not carry a large premium over its 5-cent face value. NGC's July 2026 information indicates that circulated examples can be worth roughly 10 to 20 cents, depending on grade, while higher-grade uncirculated examples can be worth considerably more. Another coin value reference lists typical uncirculated 1983p examples around a few dollars, with higher grades potentially reaching much higher values. If your coin is in the good condition described in today's video, you should not expect it to be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars simply because it is from 1983 and has a P mint mark. Most ordinary circulated examples are common. The large mintage of more than 561 million coins means there are still many examples available to collectors today. However, condition can make a huge difference. A coin with heavy scratches, discoloration, dents, or significant wear will generally be worth much less than a sharply detailed coin with attractive surfaces. One of the most important things to check is the amount of wear on Jefferson's portrait. Look at the hair, cheek, and other raised areas on the obverse. If these areas show significant flattening from circulation, the coin is unlikely to command a major premium. On the reverse, examine Monticello, and especially the steps. If the details are worn or weak, the coin is generally a normal circulated example. But if you discover a coin with exceptionally sharp details, clean surfaces, strong luster, and clearly defined steps, you may have something much more interesting. The full steps designation is particularly important for the 1983P Jefferson Nickel. PCG's records separate the regular 1983P nickel from the full steps variety, and high-grade full steps examples can bring dramatically higher prices than ordinary circulated coins. In fact, PCG's reports an auction record of $5,760 for a 1983P Jefferson Nickel graded Ms. 67, full steps, sold in November 2024. That result is for an exceptional certified coin and should not be confused with the value of an ordinary, good condition example. There is another important lesson here for collectors. A coin's highest auction record does not mean every coin from the same year is worth that amount. Coin value depends on grade, eye appeal, strike quality, surface condition, rarity, certification, and collector demand. An ordinary 1983P nickel from circulation can be worth only a small amount, while an extraordinary high-grade example with full steps can be worth dramatically more. This difference is exactly why examining coins carefully can be so important. You should also look for possible errors or unusual varieties. When examining your 1983P Jefferson Nickel, use good lighting and, if possible, a magnifying glass. Check the date, mint mark, lettering, rim, portrait, and Monticello. Look for unusual doubling, missing details, strange die characteristics, cracks, clips, off-center strikes, or other abnormalities. However, be careful when identifying errors because damage that happens after the coin leaves the mint can sometimes look like a mint error. Scratches, dents, polishing, and environmental damage generally do not automatically make a coin valuable. Another important point is that you should avoid cleaning your 1983P nickel. If you find an old coin that looks dark, dirty, or discolored, it may be tempting to polish it until it shines. But cleaning can permanently damage the original surface and reduce collector appeal. A naturally aged coin is usually preferable to a coin that has been aggressively polished or chemically cleaned. If you believe you have an unusually valuable example, it is better to handle it carefully and seek an experienced coin dealer or professional grading service rather than trying to restore it yourself. For a normal 1983P Jefferson Nickel in good circulated condition, the realistic value today is generally around face value to a small premium, commonly in the neighborhood of $500 to $200, depending on the exact grade and market. Better circulated or lightly worn examples may bring somewhat more, while ordinary uncirculated examples can move into the dollars range. NGC's current guide shows prices rising from around $1,000 in lower grades to several dollars and beyond in higher mint state grades, while exceptional, high-grade coins can command much more. So, if you have a 1983P Jefferson Nickel in good condition, don't be disappointed if it is not a rare fortune. The real excitement comes from searching through many coins and finding the unusual one. A common nickel can teach you how mint marks work, how grading works, and what collectors look for. And occasionally, careful searching can lead to a coin with an unusual strike, a strong full steps designation, or another collectible characteristic. Before you spend your 1983P nickel, take a few seconds to inspect it. Check the date, confirm the P mint mark, examine Jefferson's portrait, inspect Monticello, and look carefully at the steps. Compare the coin's condition with other examples and remember that professional grading can make sense only when the potential value justifies the cost. The 1983P Jefferson Nickel is a great reminder that coin collecting is not always about finding a coin worth thousands of dollars. Sometimes the real value is in the history, the design, the condition, and the knowledge you gain by examining ordinary coins. This nickel was produced more than 4 decades ago, and millions of examples entered circulation. Today, most remain inexpensive, but exceptional high-grade examples demonstrate just how dramatically condition can change a coin's market value. If you have a 1983P Jefferson Nickel in your collection, take a close look before spending it. You might have a normal 5-cent coin, Or you could discover a much better preserved example with characteristics collectors are searching for. And remember, the values mentioned in this video are estimates based on current price guide and market information, and actual selling prices can vary depending on grade, certification, demand, and the individual coin. Next up, the 1999 Jefferson Nickel with the P mint mark. At first glance, this coin may look like an ordinary 5-cent piece, but could your 1999p Jefferson Nickel be worth more than its face value today? In this video, we will examine the coin, its history, design, mintage, condition, important features, and most importantly, its current market value in dollars. So stay with me until the end, because there are some important details you should check before spending your 1999p nickel. The coin we are looking at today is the 1999p Jefferson Nickel, produced at the Philadelphia Mint. The P mint mark tells us that this coin was struck in Philadelphia. According to PCGs, approximately 1,212,000,000 Jefferson Nickels were produced with the 1999p designation. That makes this a very common issue overall. But common does not always mean worthless. The condition of the individual coin can make a major difference, especially when you move into high mint state grades. The 1999p nickel is made from 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighs approximately 5 grams, and has a diameter of about 21.2 millimeters. The design was created by Felix Schlag and continues the classic Jefferson Nickel design. Let us begin with the front of the coin, known as the obverse. The obverse shows a portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. Around the portrait are the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," while the date 1999 appears on the right side. Just below the date is the small P mint mark. This tiny letter is one of the first things you should check when identifying this coin. If your nickel says 1999 and has a P underneath the date, you are looking at the 1999p Jefferson Nickel. Now turn the coin over and look at the reverse. The reverse features Monticello, Jefferson's famous home in Virginia. Above the building are the words "E pluribus unum" and "United States of America," while the denomination 5 cents appears below Monticello. When examining a 1999p nickel, pay special attention to the Monticello building and especially its steps. These steps can be extremely important when determining whether a coin qualifies for the full steps designation. So now let us talk about the question everyone wants answered. How much is a 1999p Jefferson Nickel worth today? If your coin is a normal circulated example in good or worn condition, it generally is not a rare or expensive coin. Because more than 1.2 billion 1999p nickels were produced, ordinary examples are still readily available. Current value guides show that circulated examples can remain close to face value, while uncirculated coins can move into the dollar range, depending on their grade and quality. One current guide lists uncirculated 1999p examples around $300 to $1,240 or more, while other market references show higher values for better certified grades. However, this is where things become much more interesting. The 1999p Jefferson Nickel has a major difference between an ordinary example and a very high-grade coin. PCGs explains that the coin is fairly easy to find in general, but examples graded Ms. 67 or higher become difficult to find. This means that collectors are not simply looking for a 1999p nickel. They are looking for exceptional examples with outstanding preservation, strong strikes, attractive surfaces, and high grades. Another important feature is full steps. Commonly abbreviated as FS, full steps refers to the steps on Monticello being sharply and completely defined. A normal circulated nickel will usually show wear across these areas, while an exceptionally well-preserved coin may retain much stronger detail. The full steps designation can dramatically increase the value of a high-grade 1999p Jefferson Nickel. PCGs currently list substantially higher price levels for 1999p full steps coins compared with regular examples, with the highest grades carrying significant premiums. For example, PCGs lists the regular 1999p Jefferson Nickel with values in the low dollar range at lower mint state grades, while full steps examples can become much more valuable as the grade increases. The PCG's price guide shows 1999p full steps values ranging from several dollars in lower mint state grades to hundreds of dollars in very high grades, with exceptional examples reaching thousands of dollars. There is also an impressive auction history for this coin. PCGs records an auction result of $5,463 for a 1999p Jefferson Nickel graded Ms. 65. Sold by Heritage Auctions in 2008. This does not mean your ordinary 1999p nickel is worth $5,463. Auction records usually represent exceptional coins, specific grades, special designations, or particularly desirable examples. It is very important not to confuse a record price with the value of an average circulated coin. When checking your own 1999p nickel, start by examining the overall condition. Look at Jefferson's face and hair on the obverse. Are the details sharp, or have they been flattened by years of circulation? Next, inspect the lettering and date for heavy wear. On the reverse, examine Monticello carefully. Look at the columns, building details, and especially the steps. If the coin has strong original luster and very little contact damage, it could be more interesting than an ordinary circulated example. You should also check for unusual mint errors. Look closely at the date, mint mark, lettering, rim, and overall shape of the coin. Possible errors can include off-center strikes, clips, die cracks, doubled features, or unusual striking problems. But be careful, because ordinary damage caused after the coin left the mint can sometimes look like an error. A scratch, dent, gouge, or damage from machinery does not automatically make a coin valuable. If you think you have a genuine mint error, professional evaluation can help determine whether it is actually collectible. Another important warning is never to clean your coin. If your 1999p Jefferson Nickel looks dirty, dark, stained, or aged, you may be tempted to polish it. Do not do that. Cleaning can leave permanent scratches and unnatural surfaces that can reduce collector appeal. A naturally preserved coin is generally more desirable than a coin that has been aggressively polished. So, if you have a normal 1999p Jefferson Nickel in good circulated condition, the realistic value is usually around its face value or only a small premium. If the coin is uncirculated and attractive, it may be worth more, potentially reaching the dollar range or beyond, depending on grade. But if you discover a very high-grade coin with full steps, the value can increase dramatically. The difference between an ordinary nickel and a premium collector example can be enormous. Current PCG's information confirms that the strongest values are concentrated in exceptional grades and full steps. Examples. The most important lesson from the 1999p Jefferson Nickel is that the date and mint mark alone do not make the coin rare. More than 1.2 billion were produced, so the majority of examples are common. The real opportunity comes from condition, strike quality, full steps, and genuine mint errors. That is why collectors carefully examine even ordinary coins before spending them. So take another look at your 1999p Jefferson Nickel. Check the P mint mark under the date. Examine Jefferson's portrait, turn the coin over, and inspect Monticello and its steps. If your coin is heavily circulated, it will probably remain close to its 5-cent face value. But if you have an unusually clean, sharply struck, high-grade example, especially one with full steps, it may deserve much closer attention. Remember that coin values can change over time, and the actual selling price depends on condition, grade, certification, oil, collector demand, and whether the coin has a recognized variety or mint error. A price shown for an exceptional auction coin should never be assumed to be the value of every coin from the same year. Next up, USA 5-cent coin from the year 2000, specifically the 2000D Jefferson Nickel with the D mint mark. At first glance, this coin may look like an ordinary 5-cent piece, but could your 2000D Jefferson Nickel be worth more than 5 cents today? In this video, we will examine its history, design, mintage, condition, important features, and realistic market value in today's dollars. So stay with me until the end, because the condition of this coin can make a big difference in its value. The 2000D Jefferson Nickel was produced at the Denver Mint, and the small d mint mark below the date identifies Denver as the mint where the coin was struck. More than 1.5 billion Jefferson Nickels were produced at Denver in 2000, making this a common coin in circulated condition. The coin is made from 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighs approximately 5 grams, and measures about 21.2 millimeters in diameter. It continues the famous Jefferson Nickel design created by Felix Schlag. On the front of the coin, known as the obverse, you can see the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. The words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" surround the portrait, while the date 2000 appears on the right side. Directly below the date is the D mint mark. When checking your coin, this is one of the easiest ways to confirm that you have a 2000D Jefferson Nickel rather than a Philadelphia minted example. Now, let's turn the coin over to the reverse. The reverse features Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia. Around the building are the inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum, while 5 cents appears below. Monticello is one of the most important areas to examine when determining the condition of a Jefferson Nickel. Look carefully at the building, the columns, and especially the steps. Strong and clearly defined steps can be an important indication that a coin may qualify for a full steps designation. So, how much is a 2000D Jefferson Nickel worth today? For an ordinary circulated coin in good condition, the answer is usually not very high. Because such a large number were produced, most circulated examples are worth around their 5-cent face value, with only a small premium depending on condition and collector demand. A normal circulated 2000D nickel should not be considered a rare coin simply because it is more than 2 decades old. However, things become much more interesting when we move into uncirculated condition. A 2000D nickel with sharp details, original mint luster, very few marks, and excellent overall preservation can be worth more than a circulated example. The higher the certified grade, the greater the potential value. This is why collectors carefully separate ordinary, circulated nickels from high-quality mint state examples. One of the most important features to check is full steps. Full steps refers to the steps on Monticello being complete and clearly separated. Most circulated nickels will show wear across these details, but an exceptionally well-struck and well-preserved coin can retain very sharp steps. A high-grade 2000D Jefferson Nickel with full steps can be considerably more desirable to collectors than a normal example. If your coin is in good circulated condition, don't expect a huge fortune. A realistic value is generally around 5 cents to a small premium, depending on the exact condition. Better uncirculated examples can be worth more, while exceptional high-grade full steps examples can bring substantially higher prices. This is an important lesson in coin collecting. The year and mint mark are only part of the story. Condition and strike quality can completely change the value. When examining your 2000D Jefferson Nickel, start with the obverse. Look closely at Jefferson's hair, cheek, and jaw. These raised areas often show wear first. Then examine the date and D mint mark. Make sure the lettering is sharp and that the coin does not have major scratches, dents, or other damage. Next, turn the coin over and carefully inspect Monticello. Look at the columns and the building's architectural details. Then focus on the steps. If you can clearly see strong, uninterrupted step lines, you may have a more interesting example. Remember, however, that simply seeing some steps does not automatically mean the coin qualifies as full steps. Professional grading standards are much more precise. You should also keep an eye out for possible mint errors. Examine the rim, lettering, date, mint mark, and overall shape. An off-center strike, unusual die crack, clipped planchet, or genuine doubled feature could potentially make a coin more collectible. But be careful. Damage caused after the coin entered circulation can sometimes look like a mint error. Scratches, dents, and machine damage do not automatically increase a coin's value. Another important rule for collectors is never clean your coins. If your 2000D nickel looks dirty, dark, stained, or aged, you might be tempted to polish it. Avoid doing that. Cleaning can leave scratches and unnatural surfaces, which can actually make the coin less desirable to collectors. Original surfaces are generally preferred. Now, let's talk about the realistic situation for a 2000D nickel in good condition. If your coin has normal circulation wear, scratches, and some discoloration, it is most likely worth close to its 5-cent face value. If it is much cleaner and has very little wear, it could have a small premium. If it is truly uncirculated with strong original luster, sharp details, and excellent surfaces, the value can rise further. And if you discover a very high-grade example with full steps, that is where the coin becomes particularly interesting. This is why I always recommend checking your coins carefully before spending them. A coin that looks ordinary at first may have characteristics that make it more desirable to collectors. You don't need to assume every old nickel is valuable, but you also shouldn't ignore condition, mint marks, and unusual details. The 2000D Jefferson Nickel is a great example of how coin collecting works. The coin itself is common, but finding an exceptionally preserved example can be much harder. Millions of coins were spent in everyday transactions, placed in vending machines, carried in pockets, and exposed to scratches and wear. Finding one that still looks almost like it did when it left the mint is much more interesting to a collector. So, before you spend your 2000D Jefferson Nickel, take a few moments to examine it carefully. Confirm the 2000 date and D mint mark, inspect Jefferson's portrait, check the overall surfaces, and then turn the coin over and study Monticello and its steps. If it is a normal circulated coin, it will probably remain close to face value. But if you discover an unusually sharp, high-grade coin, with strong full steps, or a genuine mint error, it may deserve further investigation. Remember that coin prices can change, and actual selling prices depend on condition, grade, certification, oil, collector demand, and any recognized variety or error. Exceptional auction prices should never be used as the expected value for every example of the same date and mint mark. Next up, USA 5-cent coin from 2001, specifically the 2001P Jefferson Nickel with the P mint mark. This coin may look like an ordinary 5-cent piece, but could your 2001P Jefferson Nickel be worth more than 5 cents today? In this video, we will explore its history, design, mintage, condition, important features, and realistic market value in today's dollars. So stay with me until the end, because the condition of this coin can make a major difference. The 2001P Jefferson Nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and the small P mint mark underneath the date identifies Philadelphia as the mint of origin. Millions of these nickels entered circulation, so ordinary circulated examples are generally common. The coin weighs approximately 5 grams and measures about 21.2 millimeters in diameter. It is made from the standard copper-nickel composition used for modern Jefferson Nickels, consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Let's begin with the front of the coin, known as the obverse. The obverse features the famous portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. Around his portrait are the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," while the date 2001 appears on the right side. Just below the date, you can see the P mint mark. When you are searching through your nickels, checking this small letter is important because it tells you where the coin was produced. Now, turn the coin over and look at the reverse. The reverse displays Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's famous Virginia home. Around the building are United States of America and E Pluribus Unum, while 5 cents is displayed underneath. When examining a 2001P Jefferson Nickel, pay close attention to the details of Monticello. The columns, building details, and especially the steps can tell you a lot about the coin's condition and strike quality. So, how much is a 2001P Jefferson Nickel worth today? If you have a normal circulated example in good condition, the coin is generally worth around its 5-cent face value or only a small premium. The large number of coins produced means that ordinary circulated examples are not considered rare. Simply having a 2001 date and a P mint mark does not make the coin worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. However, the situation changes when we look at uncirculated coins. A 2001p nickel that has never been heavily circulated can have much sharper details, stronger original luster, and fewer scratches. Depending on its grade and appearance, an uncirculated example may be worth more than face value. The higher the grade, the more attention the coin can receive from collectors. One of the most important features to examine is the full steps designation. Full steps refers to the steps on Monticello being sharply defined and complete. Many circulated nickels have worn or weak steps, but a high-quality coin can preserve much stronger detail. A high-grade 2001p Jefferson nickel with full steps can be considerably more valuable than an ordinary circulated example. If your 2001p nickel is in good circulated condition, a realistic value is generally around 5 cents to a small premium, depending on the exact condition and market demand. Better uncirculated coins can be worth more, while exceptional high-grade examples with full steps can bring significantly higher prices. This is why experienced collectors don't judge a coin only by its year. They also examine its condition, strike, surfaces, and special characteristics. When you inspect your 2001p nickel, start with Jefferson's portrait. Look at his hair, cheek, jaw, and other raised areas. Heavy flattening indicates circulation wear. Also check the date and P mint mark for clarity. Examine the surface for scratches, dents, spots, and discoloration. A coin with many contact marks will usually be less desirable than one with clean, attractive surfaces. Next, turn the coin over and examine Monticello. Look closely at the columns and the architectural details. Then focus on the steps. If you see strong and clearly separated steps, your coin may be worth closer examination. Remember that simply seeing steps does not automatically mean a coin qualifies for full steps. Professional grading standards are very specific. You should also search for genuine mint errors. Examine the rim, lettering, date, mint mark, and overall shape of the coin. Possible errors can include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, or other unusual mint-made characteristics. But be careful when identifying errors. Scratches, dents, corrosion, and damage that happened after the coin left the mint are not normally valuable mint errors. Another important rule is never to clean your 2001p Jefferson nickel. If the coin looks dirty or dark, don't polish it or use chemicals to make it shiny. Cleaning can leave permanent marks and damage the original surface. Collectors generally prefer coins with natural surfaces, even when those surfaces show normal age. For most people who find a 2001p Jefferson nickel in ordinary good condition, this is not a get-rich-quick coin. Its value will usually remain close to its 5-cent face value, but that does not make it uninteresting. Coin collecting is about learning how to identify differences between ordinary coins and exceptional examples. A common nickel can become much more interesting when it has unusually high grade, strong full steps, or a genuine mint error. Think about how many times a Jefferson nickel has passed through people's hands. It may have been used at a store, carried in a pocket, dropped on the ground, placed in a vending machine, or stored in a coin jar. Every year of circulation creates opportunities for scratches and wear. That is why a 2001p nickel that remains extremely sharp and well preserved can attract more collector interest than an ordinary circulated example. So, before spending your 2001p Jefferson nickel, take a few moments to inspect it. Confirm the 2001 date and P mint mark. Check Jefferson's portrait for wear and examine the surface for damage. Then look carefully at Monticello, and especially the steps. If the coin is heavily circulated, it is most likely worth close to 5 cents. If it is bright, sharp, and nearly uncirculated, it may deserve a closer look. And if you believe you have an exceptional high-grade full steps example or a genuine mint error, professional evaluation could be worthwhile. Remember that coin values change with the market, and actual selling prices depend on condition, grade, certification, collector demand. and whether the coin has a recognized error or variety. A record auction price for an exceptional coin should never be treated as the normal value of every 2001p. Jefferson Nickel. Thank you for watching Coin Reveal USA. If you enjoy discovering the hidden history and value of American coins, make sure to subscribe to Coin Reveal USA and turn on notifications for more coin discoveries. Keep checking your pocket change, old coin jars, and collections, because sometimes the most interesting coins are hiding in plain sight. Until the next video, keep searching, keep collecting, and keep revealing the hidden history inside America's coins.